Well, first we had our package bee weekend, and the last 2 weekends, maybe the last 3 weekends, we've had our nuke days. So people have been coming and picking up their 5 frame nukes. That's been going really good. I got a pause in the action right now. I got my last customer coming in about an hour and a half to pick up 3 nukes from me. And I think this year, I think we maxed out. We only sell the number of nukes that we can produce, and I think we maxed out around just under 70 nukes this year. And so that was great seeing so many of you that showed up to get your package or nukes. It was good spending time with you. Hey everybody, I'm David Burns. I'm out in the bee yard. Moved my hives back here. They used to be down the road, but back here I've got a space to put all my hives, and I've got them in several different spots to keep wind. It's so windy here that it's hard to work my bees or film. So this way I can always work bees no matter which direction the wind's from, because I've got them around different types of buildings and berms and such. So that's going to be, it's really nice too, because everything is close by. I mean, I can jump inside the building for, tools or resources that I need instead of all the way down the road. It was so painful. Hey, I've got a ton of questions. Every week I have a live stream every Thursday night at 7 p.m. And it is a great time for beekeepers to join us. Hundreds of beekeepers show up and they have a lot of questions. And I answer questions rapidly. But there's always questions left over from the live stream that I like to answer the next few days after the live stream. So today I've got pages of questions that all of you are struggling with. I'm here, I'm working hard for the everyday common beekeeper to help you in all of the questions that you have. And hopefully during the duration of me answering these questions, I won't get stung by bees because I'm sitting out in between bees. But this is really where I love to be, out in the bee yard. Let's start with the first question here. I'm going to take the EAS test in the future. Any advice? EAS it stands for the Eastern Apicultural Society of North America. I'm a certified master beekeeper through Eastern Apicultural Society. It is the oldest and the most prestigious master beekeeper program, and originated with Roger Moores out of Cornell University. So I am partial to that master beekeeper program, though there are many of them, and a lot of you have been a part of different master beekeeper programs. Every year EAS has a conference, and every year we offer the test if you want to become a certified master beekeeper. We don't train, we don't have a program. We just simply feel that you're coming to take the tests and you do your own personal study, your own personal research, your own personal growth. And when you think you know everything there is that could possibly be asked on an oral test in front of an oral panel of master beekeepers, or a written test that's put together by Dr. David Peck, our academic advisor, or the lab test that Dr. Peck puts together, identifying things in the lab you're looking at, or the field tests, which I'm the field team leader. I put together the field test every year. So if you feel like you're ready for these 4 tests, you have to pass with an 85%, then yeah, you feel like you want to go show your stuff and show what you know and pass those tests, you can become a certified EAS certified master beekeeper. Deadline is June the 1st. If you want to do it this year and you're watching this video, you're going to do it really quick when this video is published. So good for you. I think it's great. Any advice? I really can't. I have to be careful that I can't obviously give advice out that would help you pass, because somebody else wouldn't maybe have privilege to that advice. Basically, I would say study and learn everything you can about bees. That's what I did. I got certified in 2010, 15 years ago, believe it or not. And I learned and talked, and I worked in commercial yards. I did everything there was to do with bees. I did everything. And so I just bought microscopes. I dissected bees. I learned all about bees, read all the books, all the literature, memorized all the treatments and the protocol for treatments. That's what you got to do. You just basically don't know what you're going to be asked, and you memorize everything you can. Yeah, that can really be a challenge. But good for you. I think it's great when you take a test like that, or you enter a master beekeeper program, because it really does help you learn more about bees. And of course, the more you know, the better beekeeper you are. But let me also say, some of you may be getting irritated. Becoming a master beekeeper does not make you better than a beekeeper that's not a master beekeeper, okay? I don't feel like I'm the best beekeeper in the world. I think there are probably people better than me. I know there are, that's not master beekeepers. So it's not something you want to go around and brag about in that sense, but I think it helps bring credibility that you know your things, you know your stuff, because you studied and you were tested, and yeah, you got the information that you need. You showed us you could work bees in the field, and you identified things in a lab, and a written test, and you sat or stood before 3 master beekeepers in an oral test, and they just pounded you with questions, and you didn't break, you didn't cry, and you passed. So that's really good. I encourage that. It's great. I enjoyed the whole process. Okay, let's jump into more questions. John says, do you cull any grafted queen cells? Rarely. I just trust that they're okay. It's too time consuming for me to look and see. And the queens aren't moving until they're about the last day, day 16. So it's not worth it for me to cull them like that. You mentioned protein in the syrup is a better way getting their protein to the gut. What's the name of the additive to the syrup? Well, we sell the additives on our website, and it's a 3-part additives. It's the pollen powder substitute, protein substitute, and then it's amino bee booster and honeybee healthy. And you can buy all 3 of those together. You can buy those anywhere if you want to, but oftentimes they come in bigger bottles, bigger things, and we break it down so that some of you are backyard beekeepers. You don't need a lot of volume of that. Need to move hive over a few feet. A few feet. Any special way to do it? Yeah, I've got a couple back there that I want to turn around, but I think move them a few inches a day, 6 inches a day. And if you just need to move them a little bit, that's probably going to be the best way to do it. Jason, do you like to use mini mating nukes or 5-frame nukes for mating queens? Always 5-frame mating nukes. I did experiment in the early days of raising queens with the little mini mating nukes. I didn't like them. They filled up a little too fast, and they were hard for me to handle. Frames weren't consistent. But if you use the 5-frame mating nukes and you have deep frames, they go with all the deep boxes, and the frames are just interchangeable as you raise more queens. Bud's bees. Can the worker bees accidentally try to make a queen with an unfertilized egg? No, they wouldn't try that. They're smart enough, instinct enough to know that they're not going to try to raise a queen from a drone egg. No. Will a queen still go through the queen or the egg laying motion if she's old or not in good production anymore? I've seen both. That's a good question. Like, if you have a queen and she's old, she doesn't have any eggs or whatever anymore, will she keep trying to lay them? I've seen queens that are aged out and didn't get replaced quickly, and they don't lay. They just walk around. You don't see them laying eggs. And I see others trying to lay eggs. So I think depends on what's happened and kind of what stage they're in. You can see both of that. Mary Ellen, how long will it take for remainder bees to rebuild after a swarm? Oh, to be a big size hive again? A generation of bees takes about 21 days. So I would say within a couple of months, they should be back up to par. Pretty good. Ben, why do hives keep swarming with a virgin queen? Yeah, that's curious. There are some bees, I know I've tried Russian queens before, and Russian hives, for me, my hives that were Russian at the time, they had after swarms. And why they do that, I really don't know. I guess we always can speculate or maybe read somebody's opinion about it. But they just get such an instinct to swarm. And I think sometimes they follow out a virgin queen going on a mating flight. That's what I've noticed with my experience. A virgin queen will leave to go get mated, and the bees see that and they think, oh, we're swarming, everybody run out. And while the virgin queen outruns them and they hang out in a tree and usually go back in. That's kind of how that works. How do you build a queen cell bar frame? I don't know. I build them. I explained this in my live stream before. I've shown it in my live stream. It's a regular frame. I put spacers in it, exactly 1.5 inch space so the cells can be pulled down. And I put little blocks on the edges of wood so that my cell bar lays between them. And you can see this in the book that John Zavishlak and I wrote about raising quality queens. I'll leave a link to that book right here. And you can also build your own. You can buy them already that way, or see if you can look at some of my videos where I showed you how to build those. Yeah, they're easy to make. I've got a whole bunch of them laying around. I wish I had one to show you, but it's in the building. Alrighty. What do you do with resource hives at the end of the season? Combine them. Just sometimes what I'll do is take all my, not really resource hives, but mating nukes that have 5 frames in them. And each of these, like a double deep hive, that's like, I'll overwinter with these. And I like to think that I could probably put about 4 of my mating nooks together. 5 frames would be 20 frames. And that would make up a hive and give them 1 queen. Does that make sense? I love doing that. David, have you ever had double capped honey frames? I haven't. I've heard about that. Do you mean when they kind of like pull out the honey on the supers and they cap that over, and then on top of that they add more? I've heard of that, but I've never seen that before. And it's odd, isn't it? Yeah, that's odd. How much pollen do you recommend to mix per gallon? I recommend, and what I use is a teaspoon per quart. So that would be 4 teaspoons per gallon. But it doesn't really take that much, actually. A teaspoon goes a long way with pollen protein substitute powder. How long can you leave mated queens in an easy battery box? Oh, mated queens. Yeah, I mean, if you keep changing out the nurse bees every week, every 10 days, you can keep them, I think, forever, as long as they're feeding them. Yeah, a long time. But if you don't change out the nurse bees, they'll start dying on you. Hey, Trish, how many frames drawn in a horizontal length trough before adding queen excluder for honey? Oh, I see what you're saying. So I would say the same as 2 deeps. So that'd be about 20 frames. Probably, depending on where you live. If you live in the south, 10 frames would do you. But if you live up north, you're going to have more frames for winter survival. So it depends on where you live, but anywhere between 10 and 20. Have you ever tried lavender oil in your smoker? I have not. I'm always leery of trying that kind of stuff. It sounds cool, but sometimes things sound good until you do it, and then it generates some kind of toxic poison and kills all your bees. So I'm a little skeptical of that kind of stuff. I've taken all your courses. Thank you very much, Rich. I completely understand if you've already purchased class, do not enter. But what about entering a donation to someone to promote it if I win? Okay, so in my live stream, we often give our classes away during the live stream every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. And people try to win one. And I often say, if you already have the class, don't try to win it because you don't need it. Let somebody else win it, right? Now, Richard's saying, what if I win and give it to somebody else? I think a better way to do it is encourage the person that wants to win one that you would give it to. I would encourage them to be on the live stream for 2 reasons. Well, there's a lot of reasons, but we'll pick 2. Number 1, if they're on the live stream, they're going to have an opportunity to learn from my teachings that I give on my live streams and questions that I answer. And secondly, they'll get a chance to win the class themselves, okay? Beekeeper MD, is there a risk to use honey-filled super frames from a hive treated for nosema in a new package hive to get them started? Oh, okay, I see what you're asking. So here's the deal. Nosema is a microsporidium that you treat with an antibiotic. It's in the second gut, that microsporidium works havoc in the gut. And you need to follow the label. So whatever antibacteria that you use, I would suggest you read the label, follow their label on when you can put your supers on and start using supers. David, can you give us an update on the package giveaway donated by a Beak Squad member? It'd be great to know how it's going. So yeah, someone donated a package of bees to a youth, and that young person did pick up their package of bees, and we didn't have any stipulations on it. We don't require them to tell us how they're doing or anything. It would be good. I probably think they might jump back on the live stream and leave a comment and say how it's going, but I'm not going to make them do it. And to be honest with you, I don't remember the name now. Sherry could probably tell me, but we'll hope to hear back from them. That's a good idea. I appreciate that. Wonky comb building. Is it a genetic trait? I think everything can be a genetic trait. Where you have a mole on your body, that's a genetic trait. It's your ancestors probably had a mole close to that same location. Everything's genetic, probably, but certainly it can be, but it might be more to do with the frames not being wax coated very well. And I've demonstrated that recently. I've been going through a package that we sell. I installed it to see how they do. And a lot of you have been watching that, and you can see unwaxed foundation or factory wax didn't do well. They built out some wonky comb, and I've been correcting it and waxing it and using Acorn foundation, which I really love. Not a paid promotion, but I really think that's the way to go. And so it depends on more than things like that than genetics, I think. How would I get my bee club to get you to do a visit in Wisconsin? You just have to ask. Actually, I'm in Wisconsin twice at 2 different conferences in February. How many months is that from now? June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. About 9 months away, I'll be up in Wisconsin. But yeah, no matter where you are, I can, travel, or we can do a Zoom meeting. I do a lot of Zoom meetings, several Zoom meetings with clubs per month. And I do also travel. Next month, in June, I'm traveling to Abilene, Texas for their state, I think, summer clinic, they call it. And so all you got to do is email me. Here's an email address right here. Email me and see if you could bring me in to give a talk at your club or your conference. Yep, I do a lot of speaking. Older beekeeper here from Illinois recently saw the Hive 365, very interesting. Do you have an opinion on insulated hives? I've ran insulated hives, and to me, I did not see any benefit or disadvantage to it. Here's my take on that. Rather than try to get the hive to save the bees, try to get the beekeeper to save the bees, because if you're a really good beekeeper, it doesn't come down to insulation. It comes down to the beekeeper's ability to keep mites down and keep good nutrition in there, give them room to grow, get a good queen. That saves the day more than the type of hive, in my opinion. It might be a little bit of help. I'm on my 5th year of beekeeping and been very lucky to have nice, calm bees. Did an inspection after a swarm and got stung a few times right through my suit. Is it normal for them to do this, or is it time for a new bee suit? I have found that I like to wear my bee suits extra large so they don't, tightly rest up against my body. If they're tightly up against my arm or stomach or whatever, they're going to sting through that, and the stinger will make its way through. The way the stinger works, it just kind of keeps working its way in. So you might need a larger size suit, and it's more bulky, and the stinger won't get through anything. I was just helping a customer with a nuke today. I didn't have a bee suit on, and a bee landed on my shirt right here and stung me, but the stinger didn't penetrate the shirt. It just it just stitched my shirt to my skin, and I had to pull it out of my shirt. Yeah, a bigger suit maybe. Hi, David. Got a swarm a week ago. I've seen the queen and the workers pay no attention to her, I guess. Yeah. They are building comb and filling it with pollen and nectar, but no comb for the queen to lay in. What's up? Usually you get pollen bound. They get so crazy about putting nectar and pollen in there that they don't leave room for the queen to lay. And sometimes you just need to take out a few frames, put in some drawn comb that doesn't have anything in it, let them draw it out. It's a battle sometimes. Wonky comb with 2 fused frames in brood box. New beekeeper, should I mess with it? Brood honey pollen. Um, it's tough. The wonky comb issue is tough. And I think what I would do is mess with it, try to straighten it out. I made a video on how to do it. I messed with it. I took one that was full of pollen and nectar. I think I ate half of it. It was so delicious. But yeah, I think I'd brush the bees off, take it into your shop or garage without any bees on it, and try to make it right. Wax coat it, see if they'll do a better job. I got into my bees today. 2 of my hives had issues. No swarm cells present, but also no eggs at all. There was brood and odor larvae. Where did my queen go? Did I have a virgin queen that hatched or got torn down? I don't know what happened. Could have been supersedure too. I would say you got to wait 10 days, see if a queen shows up or gets mated, and look for eggs in 10 days. If not, you might want to buy a queen to replace this problem. Darren from Pennsylvania. David, I thought you said last year that you never did a demare or demare method. I have done them. I have used the demare method several times, especially when I was becoming a certified master beekeeper. That was a big thing on the test, and I did it to get familiar with answering questions about it. I don't think I'm crazy about it for new beekeepers because it's a lot of frame manipulation, and new beekeepers may get overwhelmed not understanding kind of the fundamentals of basic bee biology. And so it's more of an experienced beekeeper's trick to cut down on swarms and hold a hive together to produce more honey. Hi, David, newbie here. Question is, I seen someone put a queen excluder under my deep to keep my package of bees from swarming when first putting into a new hive. How long should I wait to remove it? You watched somebody do it? You were just looking out the window. There's somebody putting a queen excluder under my deep, between my deep and my bottom board. Hey, what are you doing? I don't know what you mean by you saw someone do it. Anyway, I suggest that. It's not swarming. You're not trying to prevent swarming. You're trying to prevent absconding. That's when all the bees leave. Swarming is when half leaves. So this is, it's a good trick. Sometimes you install a new package, they all leave. And it's not because they hate you or they don't like your hive or your property. They're wild animals. They're in the animal kingdom. And they just leave to find a tree. That's their natural habitat. But yeah, it does help. It can help. Absolutely. Hi, David and Sherry and team. Why a starter hive and not just use the top of a healthy hive with a queen excluder below it? We're talking about queen rearing here and raising queens. The reason that, like in these hives right here, if I put a queen excluder in the middle and I put my grafts in the upper deep, there's too much queen mandibular pheromones circulating among the bees for them to start queen cells because they're like, hey, we have a queen, get out of here. But if you have a starter hive that's queenless, no QMP, and you give them a bunch of queen cells, they'll raise them out. But if you give this hive here queen cells that are already started after 24 hours, they're like, hey, there's queen cells here? What, am I supposed to finish those? Hello? Okay, I guess I'll finish them. I don't know why they're here. We have a queen, but let's finish them. So that's how it works. It's weird. Starter nuke and a finishing hive. It just works that way. Caught a swarm in a trap, medium box with a little comb. Can't find the queen. No eggs. They're bringing in a lot of nectar. All after a week, would they swarm without the queen? Oh, you can't find the queen? You may not have gotten her. And they can swarm without a queen. But when you did your transfer or something, maybe the queen got lost. Could be what happened. Hi, David. Got my first hive and nuke installed, and it's doing well at 1 month now. But how do I get over the anxiety of what if something goes wrong? Just curious about your perspective. Okay, here, I want to help you get over the anxiety. Something will go wrong. There. Now you don't have to worry about it. Right? The anxiety of something going wrong is real. I'm not trying to poke fun at you, but I just want you to calm down. Don't take beekeeping that serious. Don't have anxiety or stress. It's supposed to be a stress reliever. There will be things that go wrong, and that's how you learn. You know, like riding a bike, you didn't balance yourself and you hit a curb or something and got a bummed up knee. That happens, right? But you eventually learn how to ride a bike. Same thing. Hang in there, calm down. When you go out there and if something goes wrong, I want you to say to yourself, well, David said something would go wrong. A lot has gone wrong for me. Every single week when I inspect these hives, something's gone wrong. I guarantee you, this hive right here doesn't have any small hive beetles in it yet. And I pulled out, I got a little white board under the bottom board. That's a nice screen bottom board. It's a plastic screen. And I pulled that little board out under it, and I saw 5 or 6 small hive beetle larvae. That's wrong. That's gone wrong. So now I got to go back in there and see if I got a beetle issue and maybe put some traps in. So things go wrong. Don't be worried about it. It's just one of those things, right? Sunny in Ohio. I have a double deep that had many frames in the top filled with food sources. Okay, many. I'm trying to see this over here in this hive. The bottom deep had more open cells. Okay. Should I move some of the frames on the top down below? Oh, from the top down below. Or maybe switch the boxes. I don't think I'd worry about that. You got bees in there. You got a good laying queen. Let them sort it out. Oftentimes I've noticed, by the way, that when I go through the year, if I have a lot of honey in my top deep and more brood in the bottom deep, they do really good in the winter because as they move up, they move into the honey. I don't like going into the winter when I have very little honey and both boxes full of brood. I think you're okay. Let them sort it out. Melissa, hi David, saw my queen during my last inspection and poof, she was gone. If she flew off, will she make an attempt to return or is she likely a goner? Oh, did you have eggs, Melissa? Use critical thinking and basic bee biology. If you saw eggs, she's a mated queen. She doesn't really fly off. She can't. Mated queens don't fly. They fall with style because they're heavy with eggs. Now, if it was a virgin queen, they can fly. She may have flew off for a mating flight. Yeah, they'll come back. Whether it was a mated queen that wasn't fed well so she could fly or something, or a virgin queen, they'll come back. 80% chance. How often do you have to shoo bees out of your residence? I found one had hitched a ride on my jeans the other day. Oh my gosh, you would not believe how many bees I carry into the house. I shake off my bee suit. I take my bee suit off. I take my gloves off if I'm wearing gloves. I brush my pants off. I go inside and inevitably, yeah, there's bees in the residence. I've even had bees in my bed before. That's weird. Like, how did a bee get in my bed? I don't sleep in my pants. It's like in my sheets, I've got bees. And that's a scary thing. So yeah, it happens all the time. This week we've had probably 5 or 6 bees that we try to catch them in a cup with a piece of paper and make them go back outside. I don't like to kill bees, period. So yeah, you do your best and they still ride in, don't they? It's weird. Yeah. And there's nothing inside for them. They just like to come in and see what you're doing. They're like, okay, enough of you looking at our house. Ha! We're going to come in and take a look at where you live. We're going to inspect your place, Mr. Burns. All right. I got so many boxes of medium stacked up. I got to split my hive. Can I go to deeps? Sure. Yeah. It's going to be a little tricky because those resources are on mediums. If you put the mediums in a deep box, they're going to add 3 inches below it. And I'm okay with that. I do that a lot. It'd be free hanging comb, mostly drone size cells too. But yeah, you can do that. Hello, sunshine. David, if I put 2 empty supers on the hive early in the spring, will it likely reduce swarms? There's 2 types of swarms. One, reproductive. All bets are off when a hive wants to reproduce. Number 2, overcrowdedness, not enough space. If that's the situation, 2 supers on top will help, provided they get to drawing out those, undrawn comb, or if you put 2 supers with drawn foundation, it'll help tremendously. Absolutely. But if you see that your hive's really crowded, like if I look at this one and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so crowded, quick, put a super on, undrawn foundation, it won't help them. Now they're too crowded. And so you gotta make sure that you stay ahead of it. 5-7 rule, when that red box there has 5 to 7 frames drawn out, put a super on. Okay? If I have plenty of money, can I just feed 1-to-1 syrup until I put my supers on? All my hives are new this year, started from a swarm. Yeah, absolutely. I like that you know the cost of sugar, don't you? Yikes. Yeah, you can do that. Absolutely. Don't feed bees 1-to-1 sugar water when you got your supers on, because you're not really getting real honey from nectaries of flowers. Off topic of queen rearing, do pine cones burn too hot for a smoker? I use pine needles for a starter hive, ample supply of both. I've never tried pine cones. I don't know, Rich. Good morning from Greece. How to raise queens with Carl Zender device? You mean a cell Zenter device? Thanks for watching from Greece, by the way. I did start with the Zenter kind of device, and it didn't go well for me. And I've heard a couple of people tell me they don't like them. I've heard 1 or 2 people tell me they love them. You can look it up, Cell Zenter, I think. But yeah, it's a way where you can trap your queen, get her to lay in a little box so you don't have to do grafting. That's how that works. I removed bees from a friend's house. Boy, I used to do that. I was able to locate a fair amount, but finding wax moth and signs of large tunneling, the hive is queenless. Any suggestions? Yeah, you didn't find the queen. The bees are getting smaller. The wax moths are taking over. It's going to be really tough. Once the wax moths move in, that means the hive is in danger of perishing because they can't control the wax moth. Wax moths never cause a hive to die. They come into dying hives and take over. Hey, David, I don't hear much about raising queens from swarm cells. My new queen is laying well, but I'm worried that isn't enough space to build comb. Any signs of when I need to move to a super? Oh, I think swarm cells make great queens. They really do. Put 5-7 rule, put a super on when you're deep, top deep is 5 to 7 frames pulled out. Okay. Beekeeper in Rialto, California, and had one hive one of the hives swarmed, and checked a day later after the swarm, and they had 9 queen cells already capped. Then 2 weeks later, that hive all left. Any ideas? That's too bad. So you had a swarm, and then they all just left. Everybody absconded. I don't know why bees abscond, especially I've had occasionally seen hives that everybody leaves, and they leave honey behind. Sometimes they leave brood behind. I don't know why. My bees swarmed again with there's a lot of swarming going on. My bees swarmed again with virgin queen in a tree about 50 feet above the hive today. Is it possible to catch them with a swarm box with bee bait I put there out in the yard today on 3/4 acre property? Chances are low. That's a bivouac. That's a temporary place before they go to their final place. Chances are they're not going to now decide that your swarm box is the place to go. When they did the bivouac, they had bees in there called scout bees, and they already have their place picked out. They're competing. They're trying to get everybody to go to their special place. Your box that you just put out is not part of their option. No. First year beak, long time follower of yours. Struggling to find a mentor. How much experience is needed to join B Team 6? Love your common sense approach. Thank you, Nikki. Nikki, thank you for asking. B Team 6, I think I've been doing B Team 6 about a decade maybe. It's a mentorship program where I mentor beekeepers through a weekly newsletter, email. You can ask me directly emails and I answer as quick as I can, provided I'm not on an airplane, driving a car, sleeping, or speaking at a conference, I can't say, wait a minute, and while I'm talking and answer your question, but I do the best I can. You get it. But you don't have to have any experience at all. I mean, yeah, no experience. Just come on in. I'll work with you on where you're at. How about that? That's what I do. If you're experienced, I'll work with you. If you're brand new, I'll work with you. I will match my coaching to where you're at. I'll leave a link right here, by the way, Nikki, if for others that may want to join the mentorship program. Yeah. My hive has wonky comb and a queen cell. How can I inspect for a queen without destroying everything? Boy, that's tough. Matthew, same reason I think it's good to control that wonky comb. A queen gets behind that wonky comb, you can't find her and see her anymore. So you got to keep addressing it. Try smoking underneath if it's parallel to the frame and see if you can run out the bees. Maybe you can run the queen out too. Probably a loaded question, but how long does an average colony take to build out a honey super comb? It depends on the honey flow. I've seen it, if it's from undrawn foundation, I've had them do it in a week, and I documented it last summer on a video using acorn frames. 5 days, they drew out 10 frames. But it depends on the foundation, it depends on if it's wax coated, depends on if there's a heavy nectar flow. Yep. Wow, we're buzzing through here, we're doing good. Larry, watching your new package series, I noted you did not use a green drone comb frame. What's your reasoning? I'm not doing it yet. That's going to be probably what I do next. I needed to get the brood area kind of built up. And remember, I only use one green drone comb per colony. So I'll use it in the top box, but it's a good time to put that on there. And I'll be putting that on there after I get about 5 of those frames really drawn out. I'm at 4.5 drawn out now. We had crappy weather. Hey Ross, thanks for being a member of my YouTube channel. If you don't know, you can be a member of my YouTube channel. You can be a Beak Squad ambassador, or you can be, oh, what's the name? Nectar novice. So it's a way of supporting my channel. I do every now and again do something special for you guys. So check that out. Just hit join below any video that you see. But Ross says, hive swarmed 2 weeks ago, and I'm letting them replace her as a learning experience. Today I did an inspection and watched a queen fly in. Cool. Oh gosh, if you watched a queen fly in, likely that's a newly mated queen that's coming back, having been mated from a 40 drones in a drone congregation area. That's hard. It's hard to catch that moment. So good for you, Ross. That's cool. Yeah. Harold, we started our first hive 6 weeks ago. One is doing great. One is much slower. Both queens are present. Should I be concerned about the slower hive? Funny thing about that, a lot of people find themselves in this predicament. You know, when you start 2 hives, they want them to be equal. And you'd think they would be, but they're not, because each one is so different. A different queen. They have a different number of nurse bees, different number of foragers. They found a different sweet spot of nectar. This hive may have found all the black locust trees. This hive is maybe working clover. It's going to be different. And so don't think that one is slower. It could be the one that's really doing good. It's just super duper duper. And your other one is just super duper. That's true. I put a queen excluder above my deep, then 3 super, then another queen excluder on top, trapping my queen in between so I don't lose her to swarming. What are your thoughts on this? I see what did you trap her in a super? I think that works. It's hard for them to swarm without the queen. Could they do it? It's possible. It's in the scope of possibility, but it sure is unlikely that they would swarm without the queen. I want you to let me know how that goes. I really do. That's interesting. Candy, I have a hive swarmed a few weeks ago on Tuesday of that week, May the 13th. There are a few queen cups. When should I inspect this hive and check to see if a queen that is laying? Usually after they swarm, it's going to take, capped over 8 days, 15. It's going to take about 2 weeks after a swarm to see laying eggs. About 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. Because they swarm when the queen cells are capped over. on day 8, and then they're going to emerge on 8 days later. Then they're going to, after that, they're going to walk around a few days, and if the weather's good, they'll take a mating flight, and then, you know, it's going to take a couple of 3 weeks. Yeah. How much does it slow growth of honey production if you use a finishing hive in queen rearing? Probably not a good idea to use a colony from a nuke installed this year. For a finishing hive? No, you could do that. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're okay using a nucleus if it builds up to 10 frames in your top deep. That'd be fine. Will it cut down on honey production? No, I don't think so. No, because you got the same amount of foragers. You just got 1 frame less. A lot of people run 8 frame colonies. No, you're good to do that. It won't hurt your honey production to run a finishing hive at all. Amy, I use your feeding boards, need to replace the lids. Any tips on creating the lids? Can I use plastic lids or that don't rust? Problem, Amy, with plastic lids, if you meticulously find something to poke little holes in it, it would be cool to do that. Because my plastic lids rust too. After 10 years, the hole gets bigger. Not a bad idea. I think you could crack the plastic by poking a hole in it wrong, but you might be able to make that work. Brian Hill, channel member for 11 months. Thank you, Brian. Good to see you. How do you close a hive when you need to keep the bees in? Also, how long can you keep them closed in? I use hardware cloth, 1/8 inch hardware cloth, like screen bottom board material. I make a V out of it and poke the V in the opening. Like, that works out well for me. If my farmer has to spray and he warns me, I'll close my bees off at night. How long can I keep them in there? You know, if it rains for 3 days, they're going to be in there for 3 days, right? They won't be able to fly. They have resources. If it's hot, you live in Texas, and that screen's on there, maybe you got a screen bottom board, something. They can get hot if they can't, you know, beard outside. So you have to think about all those situations. That's a good question. I like that. What do you do with queens after you've raised them and you have a lot? What do you do? How do you go about selling them? You just advertise that you have queens for sale? Yeah, you know, for me, it's easy to sell queens. As you probably notice on my website, it always says sold out. That's how fast they go. And sometimes we can have larger people, not larger people, but people that want larger orders. And so somebody may call up and want 30 or 60, and that takes a lot of it out right there. I don't know. I think if you had a website, that would be your best bet, or Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. These may allow you to sell animals. Put a poster up at farm stores might help. Bee club, tell people in your bee club that you have queens for sale. I squished my queen in an inspection. Oh, that's devastating. Oh, have I ever done that? I only did it one time, I think. I bought an expensive breeder queen and put the lid back on, and somehow she got up on the box and I smashed her. Ugh. Would now be an ideal to try and raise queens. I did notice they had a few eggs in swarm cells though. Well, if you killed their queen, they're not going to swarm. Those probably are supersedure cells, emergency cells that they're trying to raise to replace the queen that got killed. But I'd let them raise their own. You're not going to be able to raise a queen fast enough, I don't think. I would let them keep doing what they're doing. Learn to raise queens though, because, you know, the anxiety of you doing something wrong again is going to overwhelm you. So if you have kind of an ace up your sleeve and you've got queens on standby and mating nooks, then you don't feel bad if you make that accident. It happens to all of us. Don't worry about it. Okay, David, I have a queen and excluder in. Will the workers stay low with the capped brood, or will they leave her and go higher in the hive because of the cool weather in Ohio? Thank you. Bees are going to stay, if it's a cold night, they're going to cluster in the brood area. But when it warms up in the daytime, they're going to work honey supers again. We have ants in our hive on the feeder boards. What should we do? What should we do? Ants on the feeder board. A lot of things you can do to control ants. You can kind of put your feet of your hive stands in some water or something where the bees can't cross a moat of water. Or you could try some double-sided sticky tape and put cinnamon on the box so the bees can't walk up to where that feeder is. That kind of is a good way to do it. Hello, sunshine. I caught a swarm last September. It overwintered well in a five-frame nuke. That's cool. This spring it swarmed in early May, and again about 2 weeks later. There are plenty of bees left. Why would this happen? Well, you know, some families have one child. Some families have 8 children. No comment to John Zavishlock. We had 6 children. Some beehives want to reproduce. They have 2 swarms. They have 2 children. I think that's what's going on here. If the conditions are right, why not do it again, you know? Yeah. Ooh, good questions here. Oh, I made it through all of them. Oh, that's great. That was a lot. Wow. Well, these are left over from my live stream every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. I hope you'll join me on my live stream. I love the live stream time of just hanging out with you guys and talking, sharing together. It's live. You can watch the replay. In fact, if you want to watch the replay of this live stream where these questions were generated, check it out right here. I'll see you guys over there.